Hello and welcome to Endurance Minded. It's the podcast that aims to redefine what it means to reach our full potential by exploring how movement and mindset impacts our lives and how we can all work to show up as the best versions of ourselves. I'm your host, Taylor Thomas, founder and coach at TEC, and this episode, we're going to be talking about expanding your capacity. So what do I mean by that? Talk about expanding our capacity. What I'm really getting at is that so often we let things get in the way of reaching our full potential or taking advantage of an opportunity or pushing ourselves to do something that maybe we want to do but we're scared to do. We're afraid of the risk. We're afraid of failing. And so we play small. We put ourselves in positions where we know we'll win, or there's no fear of failure, or no opportunity for failure. Or we find ourselves shying away from opportunities because we're worried what it looks like on the other side. We're unsure what it looks like on the other side. And so we don't do it at all. And this shows up in really all areas of our lives. We talk about fitness. We do the things we're comfortable with, right? So often. If we know we can run, we stick with running. If we have a particular goal, we know it's within our reach, we stick with that goal. In business, right? We play small. We operate from a scarcity mindset. We don't make decisions based on our mission and vision. We make decisions based on what we think is possible, what we can do today. Same thing with relationships. All right, so the list goes on and on. Really can manifest in all areas of our lives. And so I want to talk about just what it would look like to expand our capacity. Again, we have a tendency to play small because risk is scary, right? Most of us are risk averse. Again, no matter what area of life that's in, it's scary to take risks because really what happens when we take a risk is that we know that if we put ourselves out there, we have to face the real possibility of failure. You see this all the time on the athletic front. Is that we set goals that we really know are obtainable because it's too scary or we don't like the feeling of knowing that the real possibility of failure is there. But of course, we know intellectually that on the other side of that is the opportunity to reach our full potential. Right? If we did achieve our goal, if we did show up and it worked out just how we wanted to. And knowing too that there's always something to be learned from failure. So at the end of the day, failure's fine, right? We don't learn anything from success. We learn from our failures, we learn from our mistakes. And so there is an opportunity here to reimagine how we think about expanding our capacity, why that might be important. And of course, as always, I want to speak to those of you in our audience that are maybe dealing with some of this. I think we've all had versions of this. I certainly have, right? It's so easy to fall into that scarcity mindset. It's so easy to operate from a place of fear, from a place of risk aversion. And we tell ourselves that it feels comfortable. We tell ourselves that it's where we want to be. We tell ourselves it's the responsible thing to do. But I know in my case, if I'm honest with myself, it's not the truth, right? It's not really what I want. It's not where I feel my best. It's not where I'm most excited. So we make up a story and we have a narrative around why this is the best course of action and why we do what we do and why we can't take the risk and why we are afraid of failure and this, that, and the other. And that, we do that to satiate ourselves. We say that, we make up a great story. Because it feels good and it's safer to do that. But I really want to provide everyone with just some actionable guidance today, some areas I think that we can look at and examine and reimagine how we can expand our capacity, because I truly believe that on the other side of that, if we look at things from an expansion perspective versus a restrictive perspective, it really helps us and allows us to enjoy things more fully. Helps us be more excited, more engaged, more optimistic for what the future holds. And so we're going to walk through today a few areas, several places that we can reimagine, re-examine what that could look like. Again, to expand our capacity, to push past our limits, to push past the things that are holding us back, to push back the fear and the doubt and the reservations and the fear of risk and the fear of failure and whatever adjective that is for you. That's the thing, or those are the emotions, those are the things that get in our way, the stories we tell ourselves that are keeping us from an expansive mindset, keeping us from taking advantage of expansive opportunities. And again, this can be in all areas of life. This can be in reaching new levels of fitness, accomplishing new goals from a physical perspective. This can be certainly from a mental and emotional perspective. This absolutely shows up in the career space. And as we, for those of us that are driven and motivated and focused in that space to accomplish great things and really make an impact in the world, both for ourselves as well as for those around us. And so let's talk about ways that we can expand our impact. Hey, endurance-minded listeners. I want to tell you about a really amazing opportunity and a chance to shake things up in your life. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling behind, if you feel like you don't have the time, energy, and space to focus on the things you care about, if you feel like you're not clear what it is you're passionate about, or you've identified that passion, but it's unclear how that fits into your life, if you're a business owner, a leader, an entrepreneur, a driven individual who is excited and passionate to learn more about yourself and to grow and to really dive in to spending a life and building a life that excites you and motivates you and keeps you connected to yourself and the things you care most about, we have provided an amazing opportunity with a company that I co-founded called Impact Initiative to do exactly that. So we are hosting a Destination Impact Retreat. It's going to be September 28th through October 1st. It's going to be in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. We've partnered with an amazing company called Firstborn that has an all-inclusive retreat facility nestled in the historic mountains of North Carolina. And this is going to be your opportunity to pattern interrupt. So we've combined a curriculum that includes both movement and mindset, so that not only can you learn more about yourself and you have the opportunity to grow and expand your skills both mentally and emotionally from a leadership perspective, but also from a body attunement perspective. So really combining two passions and two things that I care deeply about, which is a true connection to yourself and the ability to do what you love in the world and focus on your passion. So I want to offer this opportunity to our endurance-minded community. Spots are limited, but I know this is something that so many of you are looking for, so many of you have been waiting on, and what that really is a true opportunity to reconnect with yourself, an opportunity to set aside dedicated time and space and energy to focus on who you are, who you want to be, and how you're going to spend more time doing those things in the world. So again, this is September 28th of this year to October 1st. That's a Thursday through Sunday, all-inclusive retreat opportunity. So all you have to do is get there. We have all of our meals taken care of. They're going to be prepared on site by a local chef. Myself and the co-founder of Impact Initiative, Christine Hernandez, are going to be co-facilitating the entire weekend along with 15 other participants from all over the world, from all different industries and backgrounds, all coming together to focus on what it is that they truly care about and how they can spend more time doing that. So this is something that I've been really excited to get off the ground. It's something that I'm deeply passionate about, and I wanted to offer this as we just launched it last week. I wanted to offer this up to our endurance-minded community in hopes that whoever is out there, any of you that are itching for an opportunity for growth, for improvement, for more body attunement, for an opportunity to check in with both your physical and mental self, this is the chance for you. And I'm really excited to be able to provide this opportunity to people. So again, September 28th through October 1st, it's going to be in North Carolina. You can find all the details in our show notes. You can also find those details at the Impact Initiative website, which is impactinitiative.network. All of the details for Destination Impact Retreats are at the top. You can click through to read what that's all about. Again, that's impactinitiative.network, or look for the link in our show notes. I hope to see some of you there. Please let us know. You can reach out to us at the Impact Initiative website if you have any questions. But if this is the opportunity that you've been looking for, we're offering an introductory rate that is at a discounted rate for the next 30 days. I hope you'll take advantage of it. And I look forward to seeing some of you in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina in late September. First is to start small. I think where so many people, and I've talked about this on previous episodes in a number of different capacities and through different lenses, but I talk to so many people that imagine that to make progress, to move the needle as it were, to shift their perspective or to move into something different, take advantage of a new opportunity, expand their capacity, that it requires a heroic effort, right? And what I mean by that is it requires an amount of time, energy, focus, commitment that they don't have because they have other things going on, right? We all do. We have other responsibilities. You only have so many hours in the day. And when we look at what we imagine is required to expand our capacity, it looks on the surface like it's just too much of an undertaking, right? It's a heroic effort. But I think that there's an opportunity to start small. And that this thought of a heroic effort is what keeps people from dreaming to begin with, right? We've already decided that it's going to be something that is not obtainable for us, that's not possible, because of this perception of a heroic effort. And so we don't do it. We don't start, we don't pursue it, we don't dream about it, we don't think about it. We stay status quo. So when we talk about starting small, where I want you to start is to think about what's the one thing I can do today? Right? When I wake up in the morning, what's one action I can put into place to move me in the direction of expanding my capacity, of an expansive mindset? And so that could be getting up 10 minutes earlier, right? Maybe a barrier is just available time, right? You get up, feet hit the ground, you're full gas from there till you go to bed. Totally fair. That's a lot of people. Maybe there's an opportunity to create a little space, right? And it doesn't have to be you get up an hour early, 2 hours early, right? You hear all these people on the internet talk about, you got to get up at 4 a.m, you got to do this, that, and the other. There's all these, hacks and, efficiency practices and all this stuff. Don't listen to any of that. Do what you can do. Focus on what you can control, right? And maybe that's just getting up 10 minutes early to start. 5 minutes early, 15, whatever. Start small, something that's not going to massively impact your day. And then what can you do with that time? Can you take a second to think, reflect? Can you do some planning, right? What are you going to do with that time? Maybe from a fitness perspective, you're having trouble getting in consistency or the frequency of exercise that you want. Well, instead of doing a complete overhaul to your week, can you go for a 10-minute walk during a lunch break? Or maybe that's what you do when you get up 10 minutes early, right? You do a little stretching, light movement. So it's not that you have to add in a completely new workout. You don't have to add an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, to your week. Start small, right? Build on that. Habit stacking, right? Positive action leads to more positive action. So what does it look like? Where are those areas where you can start small? And so identify the things that allow you to take action in small doses, right? Don't get overwhelmed by thinking about everything that you'd like to do, right? I'd like to start a new business. Okay, that's a lot, right? That's a huge thing. That is a heroic effort. If we do it all at one time, if we think about all of the steps, what can I do tomorrow, right? Can I carve out 10 minutes? Can I reach out to one prospective new client? Can I do a little research on how to start a website, right? Anything, right? Start small. And so I think what this allows us to do, or I know what it allows us to do, is to compartmentalize. You don't have to get overwhelmed, right? We don't have to do it all at once. So many of these things are long games anyway, right? Fitness, business, careers, relationships. These are long plays. These things don't change overnight. They don't change in a week. They don't change in a month. Oftentimes, even a year. So start small. Don't get overwhelmed. Think about what you can do tomorrow morning. One small change. And then readdress. Okay, great. I've done that for a little while. What can I do now? Can I add 5 minutes? Can I change my week around? Can I, right? Whatever that needs to look like. You can build from there. It's amazing what small actions can lead to over time. Next thing would be to identify where you want to expand. So, similar to the heroic effort concept, is that expansion and having an expansive mindset doesn't have to be a full overhaul. Right? It doesn't have to be a full overhaul in all areas of our lives. So if we want to see changes in one area, let's focus on that area. Right now, I'll be the first to admit, and I am a strong believer, a firm believer, in the fact that if we change one thing, it will impact others. Right? If we show up for ourselves from a fitness perspective, that's going to impact other areas of our lives. If we're happier in our careers, if we're happier in our relationships, if we're expanding in these other areas, we are going to be able to expand, or it is going to positively impact and change our perspective in all areas of our lives. But that doesn't mean that we have to focus all of our energy on all of the areas. So just think about where you want to expand. Right? Where do you feel like there's opportunity for growth? Where would you like there to be growth? Where do you feel like you're limiting yourself based on some of these feelings we identified earlier? Fear, hesitancy, risk aversion, so on and so forth. And then focus on that, right? And then see where it leads. I think, again, we can imagine these scenarios where we have to be great in all the areas, right? We have to be our most fit selves. We have to be focused. We have to be driven. We have to have the best career. We have to, be the best partner. We have to be, and we get so much of that shit from social media and all these people that are telling us that, you get 3 hours of sleep and, never be unfocused. Every minute of your day has to be funneled in the direction of your goals. And by all means, stay focused, stay driven. But again, we don't have to maximize every single minute, every single day, every single part of our lives. Just think about where you'd like to see some growth, right? You don't have to be masterful in every single area all the time. But there is an opportunity to think about where can I expand based on the life you want to live, based on what your goals are, based on the change that you'd like to see in your life, based on your goals, the things that get you excited, things you're passionate about. So identify where you want to expand and just start there, right? And see what happens. One, I bet you'll see that it's not as challenging as you thought it would be, right? When you compartmentalize. Again, I think you'll also see that it starts to impact other areas of your life. And so it does become more comprehensive as you build into it. You'll see less compartmentalization and more blending. So just start by identifying where you want to expand. Again, and then to that end, start small. It doesn't have to be a full overhaul of that specific area. And move from there. Next is to map out your goals in granular detail. I'm a big believer in writing it down, mapping it out, actually putting specifics to your goals, to the areas you want to expand. And the reason this is important from a psychological perspective is that our minds truly can't imagine what we can't see. Right? If we don't have any concept of what this thing can look like, if we don't have words to put to that, if we don't have a vision for that, we can't see it, right? We can't move in any particular direction because we truly don't know what it looks like. And this is where I think so many people, and this has been a huge one for me, I'm in the same camp, and this is something I've adopted over the last several years, and it's made a massive difference, is that we have to get specific with our goals, right? I don't think it's good enough, or I don't think it's as productive as it could be to just say, this is my goal, right? I want to finish this race. I want to I want to run faster. I want to make more money this year. I want to build a business. Okay, how? Right? What are the specific goals? Back into that. So let's start with fitness. We'll highlight a few different areas. So we say, okay, I just want to be, I want to run a marathon. Okay, how? Okay, so we have a training plan. Great. We have to go deeper than that. Okay, well, now what do my days need to look like? How many hours a week I'm going to spend? Where's that time going to come from? What are the expectations of myself? What are the expectations on those around me? What are things that could get in my way? What are potential lies that I'm going to tell myself that are going to stop me en route to that, right? What's the head trash that's going to get in my way, right? Really back into it, right? Very, very specific, very granular. Because what that allows you to do is it allows you to see the entire roadmap. It allows you to see all of the things that are going to help you and are going to stop you. All right, if we talk about business, I think it's important to back into specific numbers, right? So many people say, I want to make more money this year. Okay, how? Right? Or is there a client component? Is there where's the money come from? Then where's that revenue specifically coming from? So if you're a business owner, we have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this show, so I'll use that as an example. You certainly don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a business owner. This can work in any area of your career. But if you have some control over where your revenue is coming from, mapped out what that looks like, right? I want to make X thousands of dollars in this zone. That's going to be from 5 clients that pay me this amount of money, and I'd like to have that in, the next 6 months, right? Or by the end of the third quarter. And I'm going to do that by reaching out to 2 prospective strategic partners every week, and my goal is to set up 3 meetings a month with those from that pool of people that have said yes. Right? Very, very specific. You have to have action steps, so it can't just be I want to make $50,000 more this year. Okay, how? Where does it come from? Back into that. So there is a lot of power in giving our minds the opportunity to see what that looks like, right? Oh, okay, this is where that's coming from, right? If I want to run a marathon this fall, where is that going to come from, right? Okay, I have a training plan. Great. What's the team I need in place? How much time should I allot to communication with that team? Is there a coach involved? Is there a nutritionist, physical therapist, acupuncturist, massage therapist? What steps do I need to take to build relationships with them? When does that happen? Right? Because what happens, and I know this sounds like a lot, but imagine the scenario when that's not in place. You're just reactive, right? You don't have those pieces in place. It's so much easier to front load that goal setting, map that out, get detailed so that you know exactly what to do, exactly where to go, exactly how you're going to get there, and then you can just stay engaged in the process. You don't have to get derailed by, oh, well, what do I do now? Right? I'm training for a marathon. My knee hurts. Now what? Physical therapist. Talk to my coach. Get some massage therapy. I have all those pieces in place. They know what my plan is. They know what my training looks like. They know how many hours a week I can allot to this. My family's on board. Right? So, such a clearer path to a solution and remaining connected to our goals when we have these things in place. So I'd encourage you to map your goals out as it relates to how you'd like to expand your capacity in granular detail. Think about all the specifics, right? And I really want to encourage you, if it's on the career front, to try to put some numbers to that. I think that there's an important revenue component there that a lot of people miss, or we just don't think about. Again, the mind can't imagine what it can't see. There's no construct for that, right? By the very nature of expanding our capacity, we're doing something completely new. We're building new things. We're creating new habits. We're engaging in new opportunities. Our minds don't know what that looks like. We've never done it before. Even if we've seen it done from other people, it's not our experience. And so we have to be able to see what that looks like. The mind has to have a roadmap. And so much of our action follows or is led by what's in our head, right? Our mind's ability to forecast that out and see what that looks like. So get detailed, map out your goals specific to where you'd like to see your capacity expanded in granular detail. Next is to set a realistic timeline. So we get excited, right? We're like, Okay, hell yeah. I'm going to expand my capacity. I've identified some areas I want to do that. I'm tired of holding myself back. I'm tired of not working to reach my full potential or limiting myself based on fear and operating from a sense of scarcity. Let's go. I'm all in. Mapped out my goals in detail. I've identified where I want to expand. I'm starting small. I realize it's not a heroic effort. I'm putting those pieces in place. Great. Let's rock and roll. I'm ready to do it. Now, you have to be realistic. This is not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a month. Now, progress can happen in those timelines, right? You can get up 10 minutes early. You can set aside some time. You can map out your goals in that time, right? So you can certainly start to take action, but fully expanding, fully stepping into these opportunities, fully actualizing and realizing what they look and feel like in your life is going to take some time. So just start with a realistic timeline. We overestimate what we can accomplish in a year. We underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 to 10 years. So a year seems like a long time, but you guys know as well as I do that time flies, right? A year is not that much time. And a lot of these things are overarching, really fundamental core changes in our lives, right? If we want to see real foundational change in our fitness, a year is just the starting place, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we can't gain fitness. It doesn't mean that we can't feel better. It doesn't mean that we can't see results in a year, but I'm talking about sustainable foundational levels of fitness that allow us to build season after season after season and really integrate physical health and consistent movement into our lives. This is a lifetime practice, right? A year is just that we're scratching the surface. If we're talking about business or career, right? A year is a small amount of time. These things take, months and years to see movement in, right? Setting up a business, moving further in your career, getting that raise, getting that, bump in your position to a new place in your company, higher levels of leadership or management, whatever that is, right? These are long play things. And so it's most productive and it's going to set you up for success if you just start with a realistic timeline. And where that impacts us most is often we don't have a realistic timeline, and so we set ourselves up for failure. Okay, great. I'm going to do all these things. I should be able to knock that out in 6 months. We get to the end of 6 months. We've seen some progress, but it's not the wholesale change that we thought we'd see. We get discouraged. We stop. Right? Set yourself up for success out of the gate. That's the other reason that I like to outline goals in such a granular way, is it gives you a very clear roadmap. And what it highlights is that things take time. Right? Okay, if I'm going to do this, I need some runway. Right? You realize that the thing you thought was going to take 30 days might actually take 6 months. That's okay. It's just good to know about it. Right? It's good to know how long this thing's going to take so you can align your expectations with reality. Expectation mapping is one of the most critical pieces of an expansive mindset. And what I mean by that is we have to map out what our expectations look like in alignment with our goals. Right? There's nothing wrong with things taking a long time or longer than we expected or any amount of time. Where we get derailed is that when our expectations aren't in alignment with that timeline or that roadmap. So if things are going to take a couple of years, a year, 5 years, 10 years, great. Settle in. Let's enjoy the process. What can I do now? Right? Again, it also helps us get away from or back off of that heroic effort mentality, because we know that you can't sustain that level of intensity, that heroic effort for 5 years. Right? So that mentality often comes from this full speed ahead approach, thinking that something's only going to take a few months. Right? We see this happen all the time with fitness. Great, I'm all in. I'm going to train like hell. I'll kill myself, do everything it takes for 3 months, 6 months, whatever. And then you're so tired and burnt out and overtrained, and you've lost touch with your family and friends and work and sleep and everything else. You can't sustain it anymore. Right? So it's not a mad rush to the finish. This is a slow jog. Right? This is not a sprint. This is an easy cruise. It's going to last a long time. These things do, right? Truly expanding our capacity is a process that we're constantly engaged in. Right? When we reach one goal, because we have an expansive mindset, we set another one. Okay, great. Now what's it look like? Right? 5, 10 years down the road. So many of us have so much more time than we think. Right? Meaning that what we used to think, or, if you're a certain age in life, you think that we're running out of time. And the real fact of the matter is you have so much time. Right? Think about where you were at 5 years ago. Think about what you've accomplished in 5 years. Who you were. What your circumstances were. So often, that's a massive shift. So much can happen in relatively small amounts of time. Think about who you were 10 years ago. Right? So just imagine what you can do in these longer periods of time. It's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon. And then set realistic goals, right? In alignment with that. And I'd encourage you to open up that timeline. Right? So instead of the sprint mentality, let's focus on what can we do to build an expansive mindset for long periods of time. So that's something that we're excited about, we're engaged in.
As I've talked about at length on the show, my passion is helping individuals discover the tools, resources, and relationships they need to reach their full potential. It's about more than just getting fit or being in shape for one race. It's about realizing the value in the lifetime pursuit of dedicating yourself to become the best version of you that you can be. So no matter what you love, whether it's running, riding your bike, racing, or just getting out and enjoy the great outdoors, you want to do it forever. That's where Inside Tracker can help. As a lifelong athlete who's done everything under the sun, I've gotten blood work done many times over the years, and it's always provided critical information. Even when I was feeling great and training hard, my blood work uncovered critical deficits such as low vitamin D and elevated iron. Despite how your training is going or how you're feeling, Inside Tracker helps to uncover specific, individual, and actionable insights that allow you to not only perform better, but feel better and be healthier. Inside Tracker was founded in 2009 by leading scientists in aging, genetics, and biometrics. Using their patented algorithm, Inside Tracker analyzes your body's data to provide you with a clear picture of what's going on inside of you and to offer you science-backed recommendations for positive diet and lifestyle changes. Then, Inside Tracker tracks your progress every day, every step of the way towards reaching your performance goals and living a longer, healthier life. So, endurance-minded listeners can get 25% off the entire Inside Tracker store. Just visit info.insidetracker.com/endurance-minded to take advantage of 25% off of the entire Inside Tracker store. Being an athlete is about more than just completing the right workouts. So visit info.insidetracker.com/endurance-minded today to start taking a proactive approach to understanding what your body needs to perform better and live longer.
And last but not least, just be kind to yourself. Right? Waking up every day, fired up, super excited, motivated, driven, focused, clear. It's not realistic. Right? And we get told that that's how we have to behave, or that's how we, in quotes, should feel when we are focused, when we're driven, when we have an expansive mindset, when we are excited and ready and capable of pushing ourselves to accomplish new things in whatever area of life that is. And we see that on social media, and we see that, with influencers and these people that are, whatever genre you're following. And the real fact of the matter is that's just BS. Right? Bad days are going to happen. You'll feel overwhelmed, anxious, upset, unmotivated, undisciplined, etc. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means you're human. Right? These are all things that happen to everyone. Right? No one is excited every morning when they wake up to get their workout in. It doesn't mean that you're not disciplined. It means you got a lot going on. Maybe you had a crappy night of sleep. Right? In business, no one feels like they have it all together every day, every week, every month. Plenty of times when you have long runs of days and weeks where it just feels like it's not working out. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means it's hard. Right? You're expanding your capacity. You're purposefully putting yourselves in a position that you're unsure of. You're actively looking for opportunities to build confidence, to push your skills, to butt up against the real possibility of failure. The inherent nature of that is it's going to be hard. And you're going to have days that don't feel good. And you don't feel confident. You don't feel like you won. You don't feel like the pieces are coming together like you thought they would, or you want them to, or you imagined they would. Doesn't mean it's not working. Again, these are long plays. Got to play the long game. Just be kind to yourself. Right? Be confident that you have the skills. Be confident that you're worth showing up for. Be confident and trust in the process. Seek people that can help you, right? Put great people in your corner, right? Put great people in your team. Don't try to do it yourself. But be kind to yourself. And know that tomorrow when you wake up, if you don't feel 100%, it doesn't mean it's not worth it. That's a side effect of pushing yourself to expand your capacity. Right? Because again, if you didn't feel that way, or if you had more days than not that you didn't feel that way, the odds are that you're playing safe. Right? Of course you're confident. You know you can do it. Right? Of course you maybe don't feel overwhelmed or anxious or upset or lack of motivation or whatever, right? Any of these feelings that might come up, maybe it's because you're in your zone. You know you can do it. What's there to be anxious about? Right? I'm not pushing myself. Now, I'm not saying that we're looking for those feelings and emotions. I'm not saying that we're seeking those out. I'm saying that they're a natural side effect of butting up against our boundaries and our limits. Right? And that's okay. We can normalize that. Right? And we can also normalize the fact that it doesn't mean that we're not capable, or that we're not smart enough, or that we're not strong enough, or whatever. It just means that when you do hard things, you're faced with the reality of those hard things, which is that they're challenging and they're going to push us and they're going to make us doubt ourselves. That's okay. I think there's beauty in that. I think that that's a good thing. I think that on the other side of that is growth. And if we can understand the role that that plays in our lives, if we can understand the value of expanding our capacity and the value of taking risks, the value of betting on ourselves, the value of pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone, I actually think that we can show up and harness that to be better people. But it's uncomfortable, right? We have to know that out of the gate. And so, just to recap, few things, few ways that we can expand our capacity. First, we could start small, right? Expansion doesn't require heroic effort. What can you do tomorrow morning when you wake up? One small thing leads to another small thing, leads to bigger things, so on and so forth. Identify where you want to expand. So it's not a sweeping overhaul. It's one area. What's the one area you'd like to push yourself, to expand? Start there, right? And again, it will bleed into these other areas of your lives, but you don't have to do everything, right? You don't have to be a master of all the areas all the time. What's one thing? Where do you want to expand? Map out your goals in granular detail. Get specific. I promise you this will change things, right? If you think you have them specific, back up even more, right? Make sure you have all of the details. That just helps you see exactly what it looks like, right? Again, the mind can't imagine what it can't see. By nature, expanding our capacity puts us in situations that we've never been in before, and so we can't imagine what they look like. We also can't imagine a scenario where we accomplish that goal. What would it look like? We've never done it. We don't know. How do we get there? I don't know. I've never done it. What are the steps? That's where we dial it in. That's where we zero in, right? Because we can map that out, right? You do have the skills, the knowledge, and the resources to back into exactly what that looks like. So start there, or make sure that's part of your process. Next is to set a realistic timeline. These are long plays, right? What we're really talking about here is a long game. And while we can see progress in the short term, we can take positive action steps to move us in the direction of this expansive mindset of expanding our capacity. I promise you to see this fully actualized is a lifelong pursuit, right? This is how we think about our place in the world. And so don't rush it, right? Set realistic timelines. I'm not saying they all have to be massively long timelines, but it's not a sprint to the finish, right? Map out what that needs to look like based on your specific goals that you got very specific on. Last but not least, be kind to yourself, right? It's tough. It's tough when we're expanding our capacity. It's tough when we're doing new things that we don't know how to do, that there's not a clear roadmap for. There's not a clear process laid out. And maybe there is out in the world, but again, not for us. It's an experience that we haven't done. And so it's okay to have bad days, right? It's okay to have bad weeks. It's okay to feel shitty. It's okay to not feel your best, have a lack of confidence, feel overwhelmed, tired. That doesn't mean that it's not worth it. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough to do it. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be something that is important and valuable and impactful. It just means that you're human. You're having a tough day or tough week. That's fine. right? Stay focused on the vision. Stay focused on the thing that you want to do, right? Why do you want to expand your capacity? Why does it matter? Right? Come back to the process. Don't let the ins and outs and the emotions of expanding your capacity bog you down. So, hope this is helpful. My goal is that everyone identifies an area that they want to expand their capacity, right? I think that there's so much opportunity for us if we can operate from a place of expansiveness, right? A place of expansion, not operate from a place of scarcity, right? So just think about, are there areas where you're holding yourself back because you're scared or you're anxious or you're fearful of the risk or you're not confident in yourself or those around you, things that you've wanted to accomplish that you're just not sure how to get there. Maybe they seem too big or too lofty. I promise you there is a way to get there, right? And it's probably what you have to do tomorrow to move in that direction is probably easier than you've imagined, because it just takes small steps in the direction of big goals. And eventually it adds up to be what you want it to be. So as always, thanks everyone for tuning in to Endurance Minded. I can't thank you enough for your support. I say it every time, but please rate, subscribe, share this podcast with a friend. You can rate it on whatever platform you listen to the podcast on. Subscribe so you can get updated when we release our new episode every other week, Tuesday at noon. And share your favorite episode with a friend, a family member, somebody you think would benefit from this. And we love the community that we're building here and continue to build on Endurance Minded. And we want to hear from you. So enduranceminded.com. You can always leave us a comment. Let us know what's going on, right? What resonates? What doesn't? What do you want to hear about? Is there anything we can help you with? So much of this podcast is built on my genuine passion for helping people show up, reach their full potential, move through life in a way that's exciting, engaging. So, if you're out there and I can help, let me know. Or maybe I can't help and you just want to chat. I'm open to that too. So that's enduranceminded.com. You can listen to all the latest episodes, our catalog of shows, as well as leave us a comment if you scroll to the bottom. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time on Endurance Minded.